Welcome to another episode of CessTalksSports BWISE PoliSports Tea Time, where we stir the pot with politics, power, purpose, and perspective. Today's convo, way bigger than fabric and rubber. This is about identity, power, and politics. 2025 sneakers ain't just about who's getting the freshest kicks. They're a frontline battle for visibility, equity, and cultural resistance. Leading that charge, two unapologetic black women in the dub. Asia Wilson with Nike, Angel Reese with Reebok. Their shoes ain't product drops. They're cultural declarations. They carry stories of resistance, survival, and justice. Asia's A1 ain't just dominance, it's black girlhood affirmed and HBCU pride celebrated. Angel's Me Bounds ain't just branding, it's reclaiming narratives and clapping back at the system. These shoes walking manifestos. The message, the game is bigger than basketball. But let's be real, the climate is charged. White grievance, backlash, erasure. Since the 2024 election, black women have been political targets. In sports, same playbook. Asia's greatness minimized. Angel dragged for being herself, both under attack for daring to own their power. This moment ain't about two sneakers. It's about civil rights struggle playing out in culture, sports, and corporate platforms. So here's the real tea, fam. Is the shoe game political? And has it become the new battleground for civil rights? And rolling with me is the one who never bites her tongue, Political Lil. She brings the heat, cuts through the noise, and tells it raw every single time.
That's right, Auntie Cess. What we are seeing today echoes the long history of black athletes using their platforms to resist oppression. From Muhammad Ali refusing to serve in Vietnam to Tommy Smith and John Carlos raising their fists in the 1968 Olympics. Sports has always been a stage for struggle, but in 2025, the battlefield looks a little different. It's not just on the court, it's in endorsements, it's in narratives, and yes, in sneakers. The very act of a black woman athlete getting her own shoe line is radical in an industry that historically denied women of color equal footing in marketing, visibility, and economic power. Think about it. The WNBA is preparing for a major collective bargaining showdown with the league's ownership. Players are fighting to dismantle what many call a sharecropping arrangement, a system where the labor, talent, and culture of mostly black women generates profits while ownership reaps the lion's share. In that environment, Asia and Angel dropping sneakers with global brands is not just business. It's an act of autonomy. It's declaring we are not just players. We are owners of our narratives, our image, and our future. And yet, with every step forward, there's a pushback. Media narratives, political attacks, and economic retaliation all aim to remind black women of their place. But what we're witnessing through these sneakers is defiance. Wilson's Nike drop says, "Black identity is beautiful, powerful, and worthy of celebration." Reese's Reebok drop says, "I will not be silenced, and I will make protest stylish, visible, and undeniable." Together, these shoes are both armor and megaphones, broadcasting resistance in a time when resistance is necessary. So yes, the shoe game is political. It has always been about more than fashion. It's about who gets to be seen, who gets to profit, and who gets to lead. In an era, sneakers have become the new civil rights stage. And Asia Wilson and Angel Reese are not just athletes. They are frontline generals in this culture war.
When we talk Asia Wilson, we're talking more than a dominant hooper. We're talking community, culture, and legacy wrapped into one. Her Nike A1 campaign doesn't just flex stats. It celebrates black girlhood in all its beauty and resilience. Directed in part by Malia Obama, the ad traces her story, South Carolina roots, HBCU pride, and her rise as one of the greatest in the world. That's not marketing. That's a cultural statement. The commercial flips the script. No dunks, no highlight reels. It opens with two little black girls, beads swinging, playing a hand game remix of Miss Mary Mac. Chanting Asia's on top. That alone is revolutionary. Centering joy, innocence, that everyday magic of black girlhood. Something rarely spotlighted in mainstream sports marketing. This isn't just sneakers. It's telling the world our stories matter, our culture matters, our girlhood matters. But here's the tension. Asia's resume says the face of the league, MVPs, championships, defensive titles. Yet the power structure keeps her at the margins. We see it in the media. Others boosted over her without matching her dominance. We see it in the league's marketing, narratives bending away from her Black Southern identity towards safer stories. And still, Asia resists. Nike gave her the platform, but Asia turned it into a megaphone. This sneaker is resistance stitched in leather and rubber. It's a declaration. Black women will not be erased, ignored, or sidelined. By honoring her roots, her family, her HBCU pride, and her girlhood, Asia made the A1 a living testament to cultural pride, a love letter to her community, and a protest against erasure.
Absolutely, Auntie says. And that's what makes Asia Wilson's sneaker drop so much deeper than just a product launch. It's political storytelling through design. When Malaya Obama sits behind the camera helping to shape this campaign, it ties Asia's story to a broader legacy of Black women in politics and power. It reminds us that sports and politics are never separate. They collide every time a Black woman refuses to shrink and instead demands visibility on the biggest stage. Asia's campaign reminds us that identity itself is resistance. The fact that her father, a former HBCU athlete, appears in the ad connects her success to a generational Black athlete legacy, one too often erased from history. The inclusion of Benedict College dancers nods to the rhythm and brilliance of HBCU culture. All of that says we are here. We have always been here, and our stories are worthy of a global spotlight. That's a radical act in a society that constantly tries to undermine the very existence of Black women's joy and leadership. At the same time, we can't ignore the erasure happening in plain sight. The league benefits from Asia's dominance, but doesn't always put her at the center. The media will hype others while underplaying her impact. This is a tactic, what I call cultural invisibility by design. Yet the A1s interrupt that invisibility. It tells the world you cannot erase us because we will celebrate ourselves. So when Asia laces up those sneakers, it's not just about performance, it's about protest. Her Nike deal isn't just a contract, it's a challenge to the power structure that seeks to silence Black women's voices while profiting from their labor. Her shoe is identity politics on display. And in 2025, identity politics is resistance. And for Asia Wilson, every step in the A1s is a march for recognition, equity, and truth.
If Asia's sneaker is identity, the Angel Reese's sneaker is straight political protest through fashion. Her Reebok Me Bounce line, unapologetic from start to finish. Every colorway is a statement. Every shade, every stitch, every word drips with resistance. First up, Diamond Dust. White with mother of pearl accents. More than elegance. It's symbolism. Diamonds from under pressure. Reese has lived under pressure. Media hate, online bullying, critics trying to tear her down. But instead of folding, she shines brighter. The shoe says, cut me, polish me, I'm unbreakable. Then there's receipts ready. Black, white, red. Not just colors, a declaration. Black, struggle and strength. White, truth and clarity. Red, passion, justice, protest. When she calls it receipts ready, she's telling the world, I got evidence. I got facts. I got truth on my side. It's a clapback sneaker. Aimed right at the media smear campaigns. Translation, I didn't come to play games. I came with receipts. And then Me Bounce Pink. This was personal. Trolls tried to weaponize Me Bounce to shame her style. Reese flipped it, trademarked it, turned it into her brand. By going pink, she reclaims femininity as power. And she ties it to anti-bullying activism, turning pain into protection. That's not just business. That's transformation. Hate into fuel. Trolling into empowerment. Sneakers into activism.
And that's why Angel Reese is such a disruptive force. Her sneaker line is not just merchandise. It's living protest art. It is as if every pair comes with a manifesto stitched into the soul. And we need to understand the context. Reese has been targeted relentlessly. Media hit pieces, coded language about her being too loud or too flashy. Online bullying that crosses into political oppression. This is the pattern Black women know all too well. Speak up, stand tall, and the system will try to tear you down. But Reese refuses to be erased. That's why her colorway matters so much. Diamond Dust is resilience. Receipts ready is accountability. Me Bound Pink is reclamation. Each one is more than a design choice. It's a weapon against invisibility and answer to the critics, a declaration that she will not shrink for anyone. She's reminding us that sneakers can be political texts, read and understood by those who know the language of resistance. In this way, Angel Reese isn't just building a sneaker line. She's building a counter narrative. While the media paints her as a villain, she paints herself as a leader, using her platform to inspire, to empower, and to fight. And the beauty of this is she's doing it through style, making the protest look good, feel good, and walk right into the mainstream. So when you see people lacing up Angel Reese kicks, understand this. They're not just wearing shoes. They're wearing a stand against oppression, a badge against unapologetic Black womanhood, and a declaration that they will not be silenced. Her sneakers are receipts, resistance, and revolution, all tied together with laces.
Now, fam, let's zoom out. This ain't just a sneaker story. It ain't just media spin. This is a labor struggle. History repeating itself. A new CBA is looming, and the players prepare for a showdown. Because truth be told, the system still looks like economic sharecropping. The players bring the talent, the labor, the culture, the heart. But ownership keeps the lion's share of profits. The setup been in place too long. And these women are saying no more. The fight ain't just about bigger checks. It's about equity, autonomy, and agency. It's about real partnership, ownership stakes, revenue sharing, culture of control of their images and narratives. And make no mistake, it's Black women leading this charge. From Asia Wilson to Angel Reese, from veterans to rookies, they're fighting for themselves and for the generations coming after. This moment echoes the 1960s civil rights movement. Back then, dignity, voting rights, public access. Today, sneakers, NIL deals, media representation, and sports economics. Same fight, new uniforms. So when we say sneakers are political, we're really talking survival, visibility, and power. Asia and Angel shoes aren't just gear. They're shields in a war for respect. They're swords cutting through erasure. Walking proof that this generation of Black women athletes know exactly where they stand in history and they're ready to fight.
That's exactly it, Auntie says. The WNBA is ground zero for a new kind of civil rights struggle. And let's be clear, this isn't just about basketball. It's about labor rights, gender equity, racial injustice, and political power, all colliding on one stage. These players are navigating an intersectional fight that mirrors the old battles of freedom marches and sit-ins, except now the protest signs are endorsements, sneakers, and NIL contracts. What makes this moment powerful is that the women know their worth. They understand that their cultural influence extends far beyond the court, and they're no longer willing to let the league, the media, and corporate America dictate the terms. This is the same energy we saw in the 1960s, where everyday acts, riding the bus, sitting at the lunch counter, became revolutionary. Today, something as ordinary as a sneaker drop becomes an act of protest, a declaration of self-determination. And let's be honest, the resistance is fierce because the stakes are high. Ownership wants control, the media wants to distort, and politics wants to punish. But in the middle of it all, these Black women athletes are leading the charge. They are demanding a new model of sports economics that doesn't just use their labor, but gives them agency, equity, and say-so. That's not just good for them. It's transformational for the entire sports industry. So yes, the civil rights battleground has shifted. It's no longer just about marches on Washington. It's about who owns the sneaker, who controls the narrative, and who benefits from $1 billion that their culture creates. And right now, Black women in the WNBA on the front lines, lacing up every day to fight not only for themselves, but for justice, dignity, and a future they can actually own.
Now let's tell the truth about the climate we're in. Black women aren't just fighting on the court, they're fighting for survival everywhere. Across corporate America, mass layoffs. And who's hit the hardest? Black women. Silence in the boardrooms, just like they're silenced in media, just like they're silenced in sports. This ain't coincidence, it's retaliation. Trace it back and you see the fingerprints of backlash tied to the 2024 election. Let's not sugarcoat it. The 47 machine runs on punishing resistance. And Black women voters, always the backbone of Democratic wins. After standing firm for Kamala Harris, Black women are paying the price. Targeted erasure, economic punishment, political backlash. This isn't just employment, it's civil rights. Same old playbook. When Black women rise, power strikes back with suppression. From the workplace to the WNBA, retaliation is real. That's why Asia Wilson's and Angel Reese's sneakers matter. They're not launches, their survival gear in a hostile climate. Asia's shoe declares identity and cultural pride in a world that tries to erase her. Reese's shoe flips bullying and media attacks into activism and power. Together, they're saying, we see the system, we feel the retaliation, and we're still here, still shining, still fighting. This is civil rights in 2025, fam. In the 1960s, resistance was marching through Selma. In 2025, resistance is dropping sneakers to tell the truth about who we are. The battleground shifted, but the fight for dignity, equity, and agency, still the same.
That's exactly where it's going, Auntie Seth. We're living in a moment where politics and sports aren't just intersecting, they're colliding. The attempts to erase, silence, and punish Black women are deliberate, and they tied directly to political power. Trumpism is not just about rallies and slogans. It's about reshaping the economic and cultural landscape to remind Black women that their votes, their voices, and their leadership come at a cost. And look at where this plays out most visibly in sports. Angel Reese becomes a target for online hate campaigns. Asia Wilson, despite being the most decorated player of her era, is constantly overshadowed in league marketing. This isn't just bias, it's political suppression dressed up as sports coverage. It's the same mechanism we saw in Jim Crow America, just updated for the digital age. When you silence a Black woman leader, you send a message to everyone watching. Stay in your place. But here's the thing. Black women have never stayed in their place. From Fannie Lou Hamer demanding the rights to be seated at the 1964 Democratic Convention to today's WNBA players demanding equity, the struggle is always about more than one moment. Wilson and Reese's shoes are not fashion. They are declarations of defiance in a time of retaliation. They are proof that even under attack, Black women will carve out spaces to shine, to resist, and to lead. So yes, in 2025, sneakers are political. They're survival. They're protest. They're culture. And they're power. Every pair of shoes, every pair of A1s and Me-Bounds is a reminder that even when systems retaliate, Black women will lace up and keep walking forward. Just like the marches of the past, every step in these shoes is resistance, loud, visible, and undeniable.
Fam, let's sit with this truth. Asia Wilson and Angel Reese are the bookends of the WNBA right now. Asia, the champion, the decorated MVP, the anchor of the league. Angel, the rising star, the disruptor, the future. Together, they're two poles of the same movement, past, present, and future, woven into one struggle. And as the dub prepares for war with ownership over the CBA, the symbolism of these sneaker drops couldn't be louder. Black women are under pressure, and like diamonds, that pressure polished them for leadership. Asia weathered a rough start in Vegas, carrying the Aces back into contention nearly single-handedly. Angel's storm was different, a poorly managed organization, a GM weaponizing media against her, now a possible season-ending injury keeping her out of the playoffs. Adversity hit them both, and both responded the same way, by turning struggle into political statement through sneakers. That's leadership in its rawest form. Not shining when it's easy, but standing tall when it's chaos. The A1 says, I'm rooting. I am my people. I will not be erased. The Me-Bound says, I'll take your hate, your trolling, your lies, and turn them into empowerment, activism, and legacy. These shoes, not just sneakers, they're survival blueprints. And here's the biggest point, fam. The league might not even see 2026. A strike, a work stoppage, looming heavy. If that storm hits, these shoes stand as monuments. The last moment before the break. Symbols of who was ready to lead, who was ready to resist, and who was prepared to define the future of women's basketball on their own terms.
You're right on it, Auntie Seth. The beauty of this moment is that Asia Wilson and Angel Reese are not just stars. They are leaders, forged in the fire. They're facing different battles, but both are carrying the weight of history. Asia is showing what sustained excellence looks like under constant attempts at erasure. Angel is showing what unapologetic disruption looks like in the face of character assassination. One is a steady hand, the other the spark, and together they form the backbone of this new era in the WNBA. And here's where the sneaker drops connect. Asia's Nike campaign roots her in Black girl and community. It says, I am who I've always been, and that's my power. Angel's Reebok campaign flips bullying into branding and truth into fashion. It says, I will not be silenced. and my leadership will come from resilience. That's two sides of the same coin. Identity and defiance, affirmation, and resistance. Now add the political weight. The league is entering a full-on war with its players. Owners want control, but players want equity and agency. This is bigger than basketball. It's labor rights. It's civil rights. It's a fight for the soul of women's sports. And right at the center of that fight is A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese. Their shoes released in this tense moment aren't just products. They're declaration of readiness. They're saying, we've been cut, polished, and we're ready to lead this fight like diamonds under pressure. So whether the season ends early, whether a strike comes, or whether the WNBA moves into uncharted territory, the statements have already been made. These two women have stepped into leadership roles that are as political as they are athletic. Their sneaker drops are not just endorsements, they're battle flags. And they remind us that leadership, like diamonds, is forged when the pressure is the highest.
So here's the bottom line, fam. In 2025, sneakers are not just sneakers. Not about who's got the freshest style or cleanest drop. Sneakers are statements, identity, resistance, economic independence, the new political pamphlets, the new protest signs, the new stage where the fight for equity plays out. And when Black women step into their own signature sneakers, that means the culture has shifted. For A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese, these kicks ain't endorsements. They're manifestos on leather and rubber. Asia's A1 speak to community, family, HBCU pride, and Black girlhood joy. It says our stories are worth telling, worth celebrating on the biggest stage. Angel's Me Bounce flips media hate and online trolling in the power of truth and activism. It says you can try to silence me, but I'll lace up resistance and sell it worldwide. This is bigger than basketball. The battleground has shifted. Sports and culture aren't separate from justice anymore. They are the front lines. Whether it's collective bargaining for fair pay, reclaiming narratives in the media, or turning sneaker drops into political statements, Black women athletes are showing us the fight for equity is everywhere. So let's be clear. These sneaker drops ain't about hype. They're about history. A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese are proving every step is a step towards justice, representation, and truth. These women aren't just playing the game. They're changing it, one shoe at a time.
That's the word. That's the word, Auntie. And if folks take nothing else from today's conversation, it's this. The shoe game is political, and it has become the new civil rights battleground. Every lace, every colorway, every campaign carries meaning. And in a time when the power struggle is trying hard to erase Black women, these sneakers scream, we're still here, still shining, still leading. Think about it. We're in a moment where Black women are facing layoffs in the workplace, character assassinations in the media, and economic suppression in sport. Yet through sneakers, A'ja Wilson and Angel Reese are creating platforms that cannot be muted. They're building economic independence, reclaiming narratives, and inspiring the next generation, all while under pressure that would break most people. That's why this is more than fashion. It's freedom at work. When we look back years from now, we won't just remember who won the championship or who made the all-star team. We'll remember who stood tall when the storm hit. A'ja and Angel sneakers are milestones in that story. They tell us that the fight for justice doesn't just happen in the courtroom of Congress. It happens on the court, in the culture, and yes, in sneaker shops. So to answer our guiding question, yes, the shoe game is political. And in 2025, it's one of the sharpest weapons Black women have in the struggle for equity, justice, and representation. Every pair sold is more than a transaction. It's a step in the march towards freedom. And that's why these sneakers matter.
All right, fam. Let's go do it for this episode of CessTalksSports, BWISE PoliSports Tea Time. From hardwood to power moves, the politics of the sneaker drop. I hope you felt the weight of this combo because it's bigger than sneakers. Bigger than the WNBA. This is about justice, representation, and the power of Black women leading the fight. If you rock with today's show, do us a favor. Like, share, comment, and don't just keep this combo to yourself. Invite 10 friends to join us. Spread the word about PoliSports Tea Time. We need your voices, your energy, your support to keep pushing these narratives forward. Stand with us in supporting #RespectHerGame advocacy group. online. And whenever you put out positive content about Black women athletes on Twitter, IG, TikTok, wherever, don't forget to use the hashtag #RespectHerGame. Let's flood these platforms with love, visibility, and respect for the women grinding, shining, and playing the game we love. Because remember, sports are never just about the games we play. They're about the stories we tell and the systems of injustice we expose. Until next time, we'll boil a fresh pot of tea. Stay sharp. Y'all stay moving. Stay tuned. Talk soon. This is Sesh, favorite auntie with Uncle Tendencies and Political Lil. We out.